Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored that you join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher Radio, wherever you find your podcast. Join us right now from beautiful New York City and New York. Our guest is returning to the show to celebrate his brand new children's picture book. It's called Snoodles in Space. Please welcome back Stephen Joseph. Hey, Stephen, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Jed.
I'm excited to have you back. I feel like every time I say the title Snoodles in Space, I should have like this big echo and reverb on my voice.
Yes. Yes, it should be. That's a good idea.
So tell us all about Snoodles in Space, please.
Well, this is a follow-up to Snoodles, Kidoodles, Poodles, and lots of noodles.
Yeah.
So the first book introduced the reader to the Snoodle. The Snoodle runs on noodles, and you can just go to your ramen and fill up your Snoodle with noodles, and off you go. It's a great way of transportation. It replaced the Krautmobile, which ran on sauerkraut. And if you have all these cars running on sauerkraut, it gets pretty stinky after a while, and everyone got cranky. So everyone loved the Snoodle. And Snoodles in Space is a story about, you have the Zoodles, the Zoodle Kidoodles from the planet Zoodles, and you probably know this. They used to have the most brilliant brain surgeons and rocket scientists in the entire galaxy, but these brain surgeons and rocket scientists would always poo-poo everybody else. Oh, it's not brain surgery. Oh, it's not rocket science. And everybody else, all the Zoodles got so intimidated, so centuries later, there's no more rocket scientists or brain surgeons left. And then Cloodle the Grand Roodle of Zoodle became a Wackadoodle, according to Dr. Quackadoodle. And that was the problem. So they abducted these two earthlings who had the same sayings, thinking that they were a brain surgeon and a rocket scientist, except they were just simple bakers. And their kids and their uncle, Herbie Snoodleman and Sour Croodleman, had to go up into space and save the planet. And it was really to save the planet because there's these Wackadoodles around the Earth that was going to suck up all the noodles from Earth and leave us completely and utterly noodleless.
I can't imagine a world without noodles.
No, that would have been terrible. I would cry.
I love this, and I love the wordplay, and I'm just imagining, now, folks who haven't heard Stephen on the show before, you might not know that Stephen, in addition to writing really, really fun and playful children's picture books, is also a corporate attorney. And I'm imagining, do these thoughts of Snoodles and noodles run through your head in some of those corporate meetings?
No, but what I also write about crankiness, and my grown-up guide to effective crankiness. My first book was The Last Surviving Dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus. So I do get cranky as a lawyer, and just things happen, as a lawyer that just triggers, all this stuff, just it was one of those, like, it's not rocket science sort of kind of sayings. And I started writing this blog. Actually started out with Humpty Dumpty that sat on the wall, and he had a great big fall. And then the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Humpty Dumpty was like a very important person if you send all the king's horses and all the king's men to try to put together Humpty Dumpty. So, and then they went back to the queen, and the queen was upset when they felt that they told the queen that, well, we couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And she said, it's not brain surgery, even though they thought it was. And she also wanted to know, why do we need all those horses? Which I still haven't figured out. But yes, it starts with something that happens at work, and then and then I play with it as it goes along, and then I come up with different things.
Yeah. I remember our first conversation, and you were talking about crankiness and the fact that you can turn crankiness kind of into a positive superpower if you're wise.
Yes. So, and in my blog, I talk about, like, a lot of times is, effective crankiness, and like just crankiness is a topic, and empowerment is a topic. So, my next book, and then my next kid's book, is Cranky Superpowers, a Cinderella story. And, in that story, Cinderella, when she sees the fairy godmother, she doesn't get a dress, she doesn't get the carriage, she gets a megaphone. So she gets to use her voice. And that's how she ends up with the prince. So it's a lot about, being effectively cranky. And I have a lot of fun with that. Everything from, Crankosaurus doctor, Crankosaurus lawyer, Crankosaurus menopause. So I had the cure to menopause. So it runs the gamut.
Yeah. What's something that makes you the most cranky?
I don't know. I think that this cranky writing has been good therapy. It gets me less cranky. I say that, one thing, I manage lawyers, and, it's a big difference when I've been doing this for like 35 years, and, when you start out, you're learning, and, you're, dealing with people who are older than you. Now I'm older than everybody else. So it's like, it's not rocket science. It's not brain surgery. It's just like, how can you get it right? So it gets me cranky. But, again, my writing, helps. So, like, I have Drive Me Crazy Crankosaurus, which, to me, that was the best one, because, like, I have this in my head a lot when something like this happens. It drives me crazy when, and then the next line, I can't understand how. And you fill in the blanks. And then you go, oh yeah, that's a trigger. That's a trigger for me. And then I could slow down, and, hey, it doesn't have to be a trigger. I could just, like, look at it. It's like, oh well, it happens.
Yeah. I was just thinking that could be. We always talk about the kind of conversations kids and parents can have as they're reading a certain book. I'm thinking as families are enjoying your books as a series, it would be really fun to just have those family conversations and sit down and take out a notebook perhaps and say, okay, fill in the blank. It makes me cranky when, and just list all those things, both the parents and the kids, and just kind of talk about them. And then, as you said, kind of find ways to look at them so that now you become empowered. So it makes you a little bit cranky, but it doesn't make you crazy, and you can still deal with it.
Yes. So that is slowing it down and have fun with it. Yes, and I have like one chapter in my last book, Crankosaurus Kryptonite. We all have our kryptonite. It's not like, like Superman is again needing to be saved by Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane. They don't say, oh, Superman was kryptonite again. Oh, we have to find a different superhero. That's it. Forget him. So we all have, and then it leads into Crankosaurus Doctor, that we're each other's doctor. and we just know, like, yeah, that's a thing for that person, and respect it, and not really criticize it or attack it, or just like know it's there, and you're there to be the doctor and be empathic rather than, oh yeah, right, sort of thing.
Yeah. What is it? Because you're obviously a busy guy, and I know when you wrote the Crankosaurus, and that was such a fun book. That was your first foray into writing kids' books. But it takes a lot of work to write kids' books, especially books that are so clever and inventive and so playful with language. What is it that keeps you turning out these books and creating these books when you already have a pretty full plate in your life? And I mean, in addition to being a lawyer and managing lawyers, you're out running marathons.
Yes. So, I run, and then the thing that happens when I run, when I get an idea and start playing with it, and then you develop characters, and the characters start talking to you while you run, and you get just to watch them. So, and it becomes fun. So I have a blog, Spinning Your Wheels, Crankosaurus, which I retell the story of the Wizard of Oz. And of course, they get the broom of the Wicked Witch of the West. And, like the Tin Man gets a watch, or a heart, or, like little tchotchkes, the Scarecrow gets a piece of paper, it's just, he doesn't get a brain. And then like, actually at the end, I have the lion, eating the wizard. And that's after, like, Dorothy, like, the wizard goes, I haven't done this for years, but you could go in my hot air balloon. And I don't know about you. When I was a little kid, my parents always told me never to go in a hot air balloon with strangers.
They told me that too. And
okay, good.
And vans.
Yes. And then they don't even have a bathroom in there. You go in the hot air balloon, and let's say you have to go to the bathroom. Where do you go?
I don't even want to think about it. Because I'll never be up there. I'll always be down underneath the guy going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Do you ever get, as you're creating this Snoodlemobile and all these really fun words, have you ever gotten stuck where it's like, oh, I need a Snoodle word for this, but I can't kind of come up with it? And how, if you do get into those moments, how do you get out of them?
Yeah, I don't know if I have stuff there, and I describe it like there's two things from my regular life. I'm a lawyer and I negotiate, and one of the things in negotiation is like I get my hooks, or I already have like my things I'm going to hook on. I don't have to know every little thing, but I need my hooks that will get me to where I want to go in my negotiation. And so I'm always thinking like that. And then I like to cook. And when I like to cook, it's like it's not like a recipe. I like to taste. It needs this, it needs that, it needs this, it needs a little bit of that. So that's how my brain works. So when I wrote the Snoodles book, it was like, well, I need this a little, like, oh, it needs a little bit like this sort of thing, and this, like, what we add like this to make it more silly. It's a very silly book. And then in this book, it's not all about noodles, because Croodleman invented the prickly peppered purple propulsion powered pickle. So with that, it's not even it's a new, but the Snoodle could go do space travel with the prickly peppered purple propulsion powered pickle. You could go 10 times faster than the speed of light, and it allows for space travel. So.
I'm wondering if you're waiting for a call from Elon Musk. Maybe there might be
Yes.
Might be something there to propel his next rocket ship.
And then there's the prickly pepper, triple propulsion powered potato chips, pretzels, popcorn, like all sorts of snacks you could serve, peanuts.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, as long as it's prickly peppered and it's purple and it's propulsion powered, and then it's like an energy food, like a whole food industry I could create. Yes,
I'm thinking that would be great. Going to your local convenience store and there'd be a whole shelf of prickly purple things.
Yes, that's right.
Hey, you mentioned that you, in your day job, you're doing a lot of negotiation, and I'm imagining there are families out there that are frustrated with their kids over chores or homework or whatever, and they don't want to get into a fight, but they want to kind of find a way to negotiate with their kids so they can help the kids get the things done that need to get done, while also keeping some peace in the family. Any advice for those parents?
Advice for those parents. Geez, that's a tough. You caught me on that one. Because I did actually write a chapter in Growing Kinds to Effective Crankiness on that. And I have to try to. Oh, where's the chapter? It's my next book. Is a follow-up to that Cranky Superpowers Life Lessons Learned from the Common Crankosaurus Chronicles. And I talk about so much more than that. With that, my thing with that is basically, let me look at I have to look at the chapters. There's one chapter, definitely talk right on that, so it's hard to find exactly which one it is. So it's going to take a while, but the thing about it is allowing people to be cranky, and giving almost like a platform. You have a space for that, just getting to this book, the big message. What I think is important with this book, Snoodles in Space. What happened in that when I started writing the blog, the whole point of that is, when you say, it's not brain surgery. Usually when you say that, it's like one of the most simplest tasks. Like you didn't clean your room, and it's not brain surgery. It's just clean your room. And so you're telling this person, your child, the most simplest thing: you failed. You are a failure. And then I'm listening to, if I'm told that all the time, hey, I might as well not even get out of bed. So So this is about encouragement. The more you can encourage the child and lift them up and to strive for something higher, to be creative, to do that sort of thing. I think that's a good lesson. That's the lesson I hope people get from this book.
Yeah.
That it's more important to encourage rather than you failed in this, you failed in that, you failed in this.
Yeah. I love that. And I love reminding parents that in their relationship with kids, it's not about winning. It's about finding a way that everybody can be happy. And as parents, as the people who have the experience, it's usually up to us to be more creative and to always remember to be encouraging and to lift up and empower our kids. Yes.
And just actually, getting back to that question you asked, now I do remember, I have a chapter, Crankosaurus Lawyer, and one of the things I talk about is not saying that, again, it's not saying you're bad. It's like I actually go to Israel with my wife, who has grandkids there, in this very religious community. And the mother, her daughter is a great mother. She always, we do not do this. This is not what we do. She never says you are bad. She never says you are, this is just not what we do. And I even, when I talk about Crankosaurus, I talk about the common Crankosaurus, that it's something we all have. And, we talk about saying your feelings all the time. Oh, say if you're angry, I feel angry, I feel angry, I feel angry. And what I say with that, it's the only problem with that is like, oh yes, you're good in saying your feelings. I feel angry, I feel angry, I feel angry. But if I heard you say, I feel angry all the time, I start thinking that, hey, this Jed guy is a real angry guy. So that's why I say it's like a Crankosaurus. I have a Crankosaurus in me, a common Crankosaurus that everybody has. So I'm not telling you you are a bad person. I'm just saying, or I'm a bad person. I'm just a happy, sweet kid with a Crankosaurus that happens to everybody. And, it moves on. And we could play with it. Then we could just, when you want to talk about your Crankosaurus, you want to play with your Crankosaurus, you give it space to breathe, and you're not labeling the child. Again, you could say we don't do this. That's the law. It's just something we don't do. It's not like you are bad. It's
Right.
just, hey, we don't do this.
Right. Yeah.
And move on.
I like that. I like that idea a whole lot. I'm excited. You shared with us that there's a new book on the way, and there are 3 kids' books out there already, and of course the Guide to Effective Crankiness. Where do we need to go to find out more about all of these great books, and also to find out more about Stephen Joseph?
You go to www.stephenjosephauthor.com. Stick the author next to my name, stick a .com, and then you come to my site. There is the blog where if you just read all the blog, you get all my books. Everything is in there. Not that you shouldn't get the book, but there's a lot of entertainment in there just from the blogs itself. Mm-hmm. So it has like a media page. It has like all the books there. Tells a little bit about me, and it's a fun place to go.
Yeah. Well, we've had a really great time speaking to the author of Snoodles in Space, our friend Stephen Joseph. Stephen, thanks so much for being back with us.
Thanks for having me, Chad. It was great.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. And we hope that you'll join us for the next exciting episode of the show. To make sure you don't miss a moment of the show, please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher Radio, wherever you get your podcasts. Big thanks going out to my teams, Fatima Khan, Rory Brady, Jordan Saley, Will Cheever, Cassandra Masonet, Stephanie Davila. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.